Even though the US is currently trying to pull the plug on TikTok, tens of millions of videos still get uploaded to the app every single day. And considering the fact that there are more than 1.5 billion users on the app, it isn't hard to believe that a considerable amount of spooky content gets shared on the platform. That being said, I have the internet's creepiest TikTok iceberg, and I'm gonna be breaking down each entry for you guys. Before we get into the video though, I just want to mention that this video is kind of all over the place in terms of creepiness at least. Some of the entries are just like, what the hell? Well, on the other hand, some of the entries are actually, no joke, pretty bad. But yeah guys, without further ado, let's get right into the video. The first entry on the iceberg is rare usernames. Rare usernames themselves aren't very creepy or anything, but when it comes to TikTok, there are a couple different things this entry can be referring to. Some people will go in Discord servers or on websites to buy rare usernames and just rare accounts in general. Obviously, this isn't so bad, but some people actually buy verified accounts, change their profile picture and name just so that way they can impersonate other popular creators on the platform. This is a pretty sneaky thing to do because people are going to assume it's the real person's page if they see the account is verified. Other than buying accounts, some old accounts flat out get hacked into because of their rare usernames. If someone made an account years ago that has a rare username, unfortunately, it's at a high risk of being hacked into. The second entry on the iceberg is hamster cult. Unfortunately, the hamster cult isn't detrimentally scary or anything like that, but this quote-unquote cult did gain a pretty large amount of popularity a few years ago. This meme or cult started when BeanBoy22 posted a video on TikTok featuring this notorious hamster. This original TikTok was posted in January of 2019, but because of how ominous this hamster was, it ended up becoming a meme in general. Different variations of the video would be posted and these TikToks would gain a lot of views. Eventually, people created the hamster cult and started to change their profile pictures to the hamster featured in the video. This went on for a couple months, but unfortunately, this hamster is pretty much just a dead meme nowadays. The next entry on the iceberg is 0.don't report. Originally, I had no idea what this entry was referring to, but after doing a little bit of research, I found out that the entry is talking about some accounts on TikTok and how they have don't report in their name. You might be wondering, why would someone put this in their name? Well, a lot of these accounts usually post some type of graphic or adult content that shouldn't be on the platform. Obviously, I'm not going to show any examples on screen because I don't want to get banned, but you might be able to find some accounts if you look through the actual TikTok app. I just want to clarify though, I still don't really understand why they put this in their name because I feel like it would just make people more inclined to report them, but hey, maybe it really does work. Who knows? The last entry of the first layer of the iceberg is India banning TikTok. Because of the fact that India is owned by China, some countries just do not trust the app. This is understandable, I guess, considering that TikTok has become the biggest app in the world and also just taking account for how much data the app gets from people in general. Even though this entry is specifically referring to India, a lot of other countries have either banned the app or they've been thinking about banning it. The United States is a prime example of this, of course, and I think it would be pretty interesting if it does end up getting banned because the US is actually the country that has the most active TikTok users. That wraps up the first layer of the iceberg. Let's move on to the second layer. Jail TikTok, or Jail Talk, is an entry referring to the side of TikTok that features videos of people currently in jail. Obviously, some of these videos are probably fake and just made to get some quick, easy views, but on the other hand, some of these videos are seemingly real. Apparently, some jail inmates get their hands on a phone and are just like, wow man, I really gotta make a TikTok right now. And that's exactly what these people do. Considering I've never been behind bars, I don't know how easy or hard it is to get a phone smuggled in, but these people on TikTok really do make it look easy. Fake disability is an entry that's talking about how some creators feature people in their videos that pretend to be disabled. Either that or some creators pretend to have some sort of disability themselves. Pretending to be disabled for views isn't anything new, and it surely isn't only limited to TikTok, but it seems like TikTok is the most targeted app for these types of people. Obviously, this is such a messed up thing to do because first of all, you shouldn't be pretending to have a disability in general, and second of all, because there are genuine creators on the app with actual disabilities. One example of a creator taking advantage of this is shown on the account Adopted and Disabled Child. This account posted TikToks where they were helping a guy who was pretending to be disabled. This proved to be a successful strategy for them because all of their videos would would get millions of views, but they wouldn't be able to keep this up for long because they eventually got called out by this lady right here. This guy in the video was found on other parts of social media and is apparently a professional soccer player with no disability, I should say. There are a lot of other cases where people do similar things, but unfortunately they never really get called out for it or have to face any consequences. The next entry on the iceberg is vegan teacher. I know this may not seem like the creepiest thing on TikTok, but honestly I think I'd be pretty spooked if I saw the vegan teacher out in public somewhere. I'm sure 99% of you know who the vegan teacher is, but for the 1% that don't, she is basically an activist who heavily promotes being vegan. And when I say heavily, I mean heavily. A lot of people also accuse her of being racist and homophobic, so she also has that going for her. She says that coming out as vegan is apparently more important than coming out as gay, which I think is a pretty interesting opinion. She also just has a lot of moments where she seems flat out delusional and doesn't really seem to be making any valid points in her content. Like, for example, let's look at this video where she seems like she's implying that using the word vegan in a derogatory way should be treated like saying the N-word.
Does this girl seem to you like she might be naturally intelligent, gorgeous, generous, exemplary, and radiant? She looks like she could be that to me.
Personally, I think it's a good possibility that she's just playing a character because most of the things she says are just completely outrageous or don't really make any sense. For all I know, she might not even be vegan in real life, but that's all just a conspiracy. That was the last entry of the second layer of the iceberg. Let's move on to the third layer. Tony Lopez is a user on TikTok who you all have probably at least heard of before, but unfortunately, Tony Lopez was someone who used his TikTok fame to his advantage. Back in 2020, evidence started to pop up that showed Tony was sending explicit messages to a 15-year-old girl. Tony is 23 now, so that means he was 20 when this was all happening, which is obviously not okay. Some other people have called him out about this, which has made his situation even worse, but all he really needed was one person to call him out to get his fans to turn against him. Unfortunately, situations like this aren't uncommon, so I guess it's at least good when people get called out and caught when doing these things, but the thing is that Tony never had to face any legal consequences, similar to the notorious EDP445. The entry Zombie Lady is referring to a viral TikTok that shows this lady in Seattle who is walking around in a very zombie-looking way. Her hair seems torn out, her face seems injured to say the least, and she was even screaming and crying in a very disturbing way. On top of this, she was screaming "my baby" and holding something that possibly could have looked like her baby, I guess. Due to her zombie-like appearance, multiple people began recording this woman and posting clips of her to TikTok. Eventually, people became concerned and police started to show up. At this point, many people would think she was either on some type of drugs or maybe she was an actual zombie. Unfortunately, this video has been proven to be fake, but honestly, the reality behind the video is more disturbing than it would be if she was an actual zombie. When police get a closer look at the woman, they notice that she is not actually injured and she's just wearing zombie makeup. At this point, police officers are pretty confused because she's making this big scene even though nothing's actually wrong with her. Police would be able to identify the woman as Kimberly Kasai and were even able to find her social media. A little bit after this whole situation occurred, Kimberly would go on to post this photo to Instagram with the caption, "I am not your lab rat." We can see that the makeup in the photo matches up with the makeup seen in the viral TikToks, but we still don't really know what this caption means yet. That is until she would reveal that she staged this whole stunt just to spread awareness about some of her political beliefs. I can't say what those beliefs were exactly, but you should be able to understand based on what's going on in the video. So overall, yeah, this is just pretty disturbing that someone would go through all of this just to spread this idea, because you have to realize, even though her being a zombie was fake, the reaction to the situation situation wasn't. She still made a scene in public and caused a bunch of police officers to come out and help her. Even when police got there, she still continued with her act, which was even more of a waste of time. On top of this, I don't think most people even know what idea she was trying to spread because everyone was more focused on whether or not the clip was fake. This makes me wonder if some of the original TikTok posters were in on the whole stunt and wanted to give it more publicity, or maybe they were just randomly able to catch this on camera. Regardless, huge shout out to Nick Crowley because he was the one who brought this whole situation to light. Fake dog rescue is referring to TikToks where users stage situations where an animal is in danger and then they film themselves saving that animal. Unfortunately, this happens across other social media platforms, and most of the time, viewers think the creator is genuinely helping the animal. Obviously, not all of these videos are fake, it's just that a lot of these creators have been exposed, so it makes the whole genre look disturbing and fake in general. One example of a user who was called out for faking these types of videos on TikTok is Agid2707. In one TikTok, she says her husband went to the store and was supposed to buy something, but bought a bunch of baby ducks instead. This is already on some Jack and the Beanstalk type stuff, so people were already pretty skeptical about the integrity of this woman. She then shows all of her baby ducks stuck in a pan of oil and says that they all decided to jump in there together. This is already odd, but some users even commented that ducks would be smart enough to stay away from the oil if they saw that other ducks were getting stuck. She then records herself washing off the ducks with soap and a garden hose, just like it was a Dawn commercial. Overall, it's just a pretty fishy situation, so you can decide if you want to believe it or not. The entry cartel TikToks is talking about how some people claiming to be in the cartel post themselves living lavish lifestyles on TikTok. Supposedly, people would even get recruited to the cartel through these TikToks because of the lifestyle that they were promoting. The thing is that a lot of these videos were probably fake and just made to get attention. I'm assuming they were similar to TikToks that people would make if they were trying to sell their course on how to get rich at 10 years old or some other crazy claim like that. I'm not really gonna go too much more in depth on this situation because none of the videos can really be proven or disproven. Even though this topic can apply to a couple different people, we're specifically gonna be looking at someone named Devin Erickson. Devin Erickson was a school so for some reason, people thought they should start making fan edits of him. After this took place, some TikTok users wanted to see him be set free because they thought his face could not be the face of someone who spends their life in prison. They thought that his appearance made him innocent, which is crazy to think about, but it shows how crazy some people on TikTok really are. That was the last entry of the third layer of the iceberg. Let's move on to the fourth layer. The entry crime is talking about videos on TikTok that use the hashtag crime. Looking this hashtag up on TikTok will lead to some fairly creepy stuff, but usually nothing too insane. This hashtag currently has 23.6 billion views and usually contains stuff like explanation videos, videos talking about crime, or just other crime related content. However, some instances in the past have shown that some people will post their actual crimes to the TikTok app. Maybe somewhere in those 23.6 billion views worth of videos, there is a video depicting a person committing a crime that has not been solved yet. That may sound a little bit out there, but some people have been sent to prison because of the incriminating evidence they posted to TikTok. William Durga is referring to a man who had a warrant out for his arrest on TikTok. William Durga saw that he had been caught and decided he wanted to get some views for what he did. This 21-year-old man posted a TikTok where he was taunting police and dancing in front of a screenshot of a post saying he was wanted. This isn't the creepiest entry because he did end up getting caught and he was only arrested for selling drugs, which is still bad of course, but it's not like he was a serial killer on the run or anything. The entry Zachary Latham is referring to a man who decided to throw his life away at the young age of 18. Zachary would end up murdering someone and would continue to actively post TikToks at the same time. This whole situation would begin when Zachary would drive recklessly through his neighborhood. He would even go as far as almost running over his neighbor's son. So it's safe to say that there was some sort of justified tension within the neighborhood. However, this quickly goes from something you would see on neighborhood wars to something you see all over the news. Apparently, Zachary was fed up with his neighbors, even though it seems like he was the one being a nuisance. But yeah, he was so fed up with his neighbors that he decided he was officially done with them. Instead of doing something normal, like moving away, he decides to lure his neighbor into his garage and murder him. This is when he would make a disturbing call to 911. Obviously, based on the way Zachary is talking, you can tell he is trying to act shocked and make the whole situation seem like self-defense. This wouldn't hold up in court, especially considering how he had already been bothering his neighbors and considering he was still actively posting to TikTok. It's pretty disturbing to see how he had just killed someone and he's on TikTok acting like nothing happened. Animal cruelty is an entry referring to the animal abuse that occurs on social media. Specifically, we're going to be looking at fish cruelty on TikTok. Even though some people neglect fish as pets, they are still animals, and you have to imagine how this abuse would be treated if they were harming a cat or dog, for example. Some examples of people harming fish on TikTok is them spinning a fish in a circle for an hour to make the fish dizzy, putting them in a blender, and even taking the fish out of water and holding it in your hands while it suffocates. This is all very upsetting, and I wish TikTok took at least some kind of action against people posting videos like this. That was the last entry of the 4th layer of the iceberg. Let's move on to the 5th layer. The next entry is Hola Niños, and I'm sure you've all seen this guy somewhere online before. He makes this crazy face and chases after kids while screaming Hola Niños. I'm not really gonna go in depth about this because this is more of a meme than an actual scary or creepy entry, but I will say those chompers are actually detrimentally scary. Ronnie McNutt is an entry referring to a US Army veteran who seemed like he was suffering from depression or some sort of mental health issue. Ronnie would post the following message on his Facebook: "Someone in your life needs to hear that they matter, that they are loved, that they have a future. Be the one to tell them." Unfortunately, not too long after posting this, Ronnie would go live on Facebook and record himself ending his life at the age of 33. People would start posting videos of it to TikTok, which is so messed up. At least more people will be more aware of his story, but still, they should not have been sharing that clip around. The entry Ugh Henry is referring to a TikTok account that uploaded a video of them finding a suitcase that had body parts inside of it. They came across this suitcase by using an app called Randonautica, which gives you a random location to go to based on your general area. This app became especially popular because of what was going on in the world 2 to 3 years ago. They got led to this suitcase and were joking about it being filled with treasure, but unfortunately, it was filled with pretty much the exact opposite. After finding out how horrendous the suitcase smelled, they decided to call the police, who later confirmed that it was a dead body. Another person talks about how they got led to a dog on the app, who then led them to their deceased owner. There are other situations where people talk about the strange locations they were led to, but the Ugh Henry case is definitely the most popular. That wraps up the 5th layer of the iceberg. Let's move on to the last layer. Missing TikTokers is referring to TikTokers that completely just vanished and disappeared off the platform without a trace. One example of this is Anna Machkovich. This lady seems to be mentally ill, or she seems to be playing some sort of character, but based on what I'm gonna show you, I really don't think she's playing a character. This lady posts TikToks in a different language, presumably Russian, but basically I do not know what she's saying. The only thing we do know is that she seems pretty worried in every one of her videos, and if you look her up, she's actually been missing since 2014. This lady has posted over 100,000 videos, which, like I said, if she was playing a character, that would have to be some serious commitment, and all of these videos are pretty disturbing. A typical video from her usually consists of her dancing in the forest while growling or having some sort of mental breakdown on camera. Her video descriptions always include some sort of gibberish or one of these two titles: Protest Against Repression Since 2001 and Coming After Me. These are two pretty ominous titles, especially when you consider she's missing. The next entry is a 4-letter word that begins with G that I'm just not really going to be discussing in the iceberg because, I mean, you can find a bunch of examples of this online, but yeah, if you want to go do a further investigation on it, go ahead, but I'm just not going to be talking about it because I mean, I can't really show anything like that in my video. The last entry on the iceberg is security 1275. The guy behind this account is a security guard and his real name is Josh. All of his content consists of paranormal activity he catches on camera during his time at his job. A lot of his videos, he often glances over creepy things that are in the background, and he seems to be actually genuine in the things that he sees because he does have full-on conversations with people in his comment sections who seem genuinely worried about him. He allegedly even spoke with a police officer who also shared the same exact paranormal feeling about the location they were at. Supposedly, the officer had body cam footage of real proof that there were ghosts there, but at the end of the day, none of this can be 100% proven, so it's up to you guys to decide if you think this is real or fake. But that actually wraps up the iceberg. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you did, go watch my dumbest TikTok trends iceberg. I actually re-uploaded that video because the original got age restricted, so if you already watched it, then you know, I already appreciate that. But yeah guys, I hope you guys enjoyed. Drop a like, comment below if you have any suggestions or comments or any just things you want to talk about with the iceberg, and yeah, have an absolutely amazing day.